SockSeed is an online interactive platform which provides users with a clear step-by-step path to generate, develop, validate and test any given business idea. It's an online platform that transforms freshly made ideas into a potential revenue-generating startup.
We're a SockSeed team, 2 co-founders, our angel investor, our external marketing team. We have 10 talented interns we hired. Also, we have the access to Founders Institute advisors. We're going live this month, actually next week, and we can't wait for other founders to benefit from SockSeed new ideation formula. Thank you.
I've got a question. What's your revenue model?
The revenue model, we have a slide for that. We're actually, our packages is worth of $300 worth of services, but we're offering it for $49 to our B2C clients in a one-time fee. And also for our B2B clients, we work as a contract base.
Can you give us more details of how are you going to help startups develop their ideas, a little bit more technically to understand?
Of course. The 6th section that I mentioned on the platform, if I go one by one, is that at the first stage, we help them to set goals and get motivated to get ready for the journey. So it's nothing with idea development. The 2nd section, we ask them to input any idea they have in their mind. And also we help them to understand their potential customers and build their customer personas. And we kind of push the founders to go out there, interview their potential customers, do online surveys. So we want them to interact with the market. And we provide them with the tools to do that. By the end of section 2, they pick one idea to continue. In section 3, we help them to create an offer, something that attracts their potential customers' attention so that they can sell in the future. We help them to test these offers, the messages, the call to actions, and everything that is needed to be find out. And by the end of section 3, we evaluate their offers and they pick one to continue. Section 4 is for the product price. We help them to interact with the market and test their price to see if their potential customer are interested and actually will pay them the amount that they think is good for the product. The 5th section, we prepare them for, we prepare their idea, their documents, their presentation, the legal documents, everything that is needed to get the idea out there. And section 6 is for product execution and also launching strategies. So we help them launch.
Is your solution, your platform, replacing the need for a startup to go to an accelerator, or is it complementary?
Actually, no. The goal that we have is to complete the work of accelerator programs. So like this, the accelerator programs, they can ask the startups first to go to SockSeed, put their ideas, see actually how they are interacting with their ideas, and then accelerator programs, they can ask them to join in with actually valid information in hand. So it's like it can help them at the pre-stage and at the stage of accelerator program as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
They seem to be focused more on the students and so on. So they didn't took the road because most of this style of startups focusing on providing this kind of services, they are focused more on the acceleration and incubation. They are basically what they're trying to do is go at the very first early stage.
I think it's about having a process and a roadmap, what I need to do next. Because it's like starting up for dummies, kind of. So you have like a roadmap, you need to do this. Did you do this? Then you go on.
Yeah. There is maybe a small gap in the market in the initial stage, in the early stage, and the young people. Imagine now that, for instance, in the Scandinavian countries, you have an entrepreneurship at the age of 10. So this may be shifted on the very early stage, which there's not a lot of actually, I think, a lot of companies focusing on that.
Or do you think maybe it's for people who don't have access to accelerators or other?
Exactly. But they have to be a little bit more clear. They have to be more clear on their pitch, and
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's not for universities, accelerators, startups.
They have to have a rollout, and they have to say, how is this not replicated? Because anyone can replicate them right now.
Definitely.
Skydiver Ninja is developing technological solutions to save lives. they are now in the process of building a hardware device to address skydivers' greatest risk of parachute collisions in the air.
Our timeline is to continue testing and then subsequently launch our product through a Kickstarter campaign. We could then expand to other markets. And this is the current team. Panagiotis is here with me today. And we are Skydiver Ninja. Thank you.
But have you asked the customers about the price? What was the answer?
The price that we assumed is of another safety device in the market, which opens skydivers' reserve parachute in case they're close to the ground. So we assumed we can sell as a safety device as well.
You said that you conducted a survey regarding the need for this product.
We conducted, yeah,
online survey. Did you say how many, the number of participants to this survey?
There were around 50 participants. But we also answered, questioned skydivers that we met in Cyprus and abroad, and who also have experiences in other drop zones in the world.
For example, so let's say 100? Mm-hmm. And from Cyprus and abroad?
Yes.
Okay.
If I may, because you mentioned that you have competitors, but not direct competitors because they're not doing something similar. Do you know why they're not in this? Because it seems like an important issue for a parachuter to know when their parachutes are going to collide, as it like a warning system. Why aren't they in this space?
Okay, one reason could be that the technology and the actual solution is a challenge, and it is a challenge. And so maybe they didn't consider it quite worthy for them. However, we believe there is real value to it, and we could then expand to maybe other sports. Maybe they didn't consider it worthwhile enough. Another issue is, not an issue, another fact of the industry is that it's quite new, like the automatic activation device, which is now mandatory all over the world, in like 90% of the drop zones in the world. 20 years ago, it wasn't even around. So it's a market where new technology keeps coming up and new developments appear. So maybe they just didn't use it yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I would expect a bit more proactiveness regarding why the competitors are not in the space, technologically speaking, like checking the IPs, what kind of patents are out there or not, or what the DoD is funding in the US.
But it's a very small market. If you just count the numbers, it's like a very small market, and it's a very niche market. So you don't expect an electronics company to go specifically for that. And also the difficulties, maybe some of them tried and they failed.
Yeah.
And obviously the community, maybe it's the right timing also. Maybe like 5 years ago somebody tried, and just the number of skydivers was much less. So it's increasing. So maybe it's the right time for it. But they have to go out quickly, and they have to ensure definitely the IP. If there is something out there.
Before they launch, not after.
And they have to look also on the other sports. So if there is any IP to protect also for other sports, because their market is not big. Even if they get the 10%, it's just 5 million revenue in 3 years. Let's say they will do it in 5 years. So it's quite small actually. So they have to move on after a few years.
They need to find more uses of the product.
Definitely.
Actually, they say.
Yeah, but they have to look at it now.
The good news is that they know their industry. The bad news is that we don't know if the prototype is even going to work. We're now lying in an assumption that the prototype is going to work in October 2017, and then that it's going to work in the Kickstarter campaign. You asked about the consumer price elasticity, if they're willing to pay that amount of money for that. We only have a comparison to another safety device. We don't know if the consumers are going to find this to be too steep. They have to go out there and actually find out about that as well.
And their survey is a small sample, 50 persons.
I think it's too expensive.
Well, we don't really know because we're not skydivers ourselves. I don't know.
We can try,
come on, you wouldn't even get me up there to jump off an airplane.
Even with this equipment, maybe it will safer when you have this. You can have two of these.
Yeah. well, the team seems to know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they
she
have
knows
to,
the problem.
Yeah, they're. I believe they're onto something.
Yeah.
But there needs to be more proof that it's too early for them, perhaps.
You could help them.
Yeah, definitely.
You could help them with
Especially
the
with the
technology side,
patents.
because the technology side is an
Okay.
issue in this one.
We voted, Panagiotis.
Yeah.
Politica is an innovative multi-segment platform for political analysis, reporting and visualization founded in November 2016. International media presence, a variety of big data startups, as well as potential competitors, are some of the elements that make Web Summit a must-go event for Politica team.
Politica is very, very excited to be able to attend Web Summit. We do believe that being in close proximity with every possible competition and in presence of international media would be extremely beneficial of our product. On behalf of the team at Politica, thank you for your time.
Hi, Andrea. You mentioned you have a software as a service model. Have you validated and tested it?
Yes. The live reporting tool was already tested for the past local elections in Cyprus. And as I mentioned in an earlier stage, that it was picked up by almost all major media outlets, online media outlets, and by Sigma TV as a TV license. We already have returning customers for the upcoming presidential elections.
That's paying customers?
Yes, all of them, since the MVP, actually.
Thank you.
I have a question. First of all, I like it. Open democracy, it's a matter that matters in technology right now. We've seen accelerators like Y Combinator embracing it and funding startups like that. My question would be, you mentioned a revenue model and you mentioned some prices there. Have you tested it? You have tested the concept, but have you tested the revenue model? And if so, how much money have you made so far?
Shall I start and then Valentinos will continue? We started out with a live reporting one for online media outlets. And at the demo phase, it was an introduction because we didn't had tested it in live elections through open data. So we used the demo to demonstrate the ability of the product. And it was picked up, it was sold under a license to be used for the local elections only and for additional 1 month of presence within the website. The second one we developed was the TV license, but it was only in one collaboration with one of the let's say, the media outlets. And that was also on a demo phase. So it was paid, but it wasn't paid in their actual capabilities of the product. Now that we refined the market and then we tested everything happening with the open data license we get from the government online, the product is more upscale, so the combination of online and TV, it's sold under a license of 7,500 euros, just for the elections, the upcoming elections.
Yeah, but how much money have you made so far since November?
As Andrea said, it was a demo phase. I think it was, the main media was around 34,000 euros.
Okay.
Can you name a few companies that are competitive and why are you better? Your top three.
Yeah. So our competition is, of course, the in-house tech teams of large media agencies like BBC, CNN, and that. But our main focus is smaller media companies that they don't have the budget to have in-house tech teams. So we are trying to tap into that. From what we've seen, our main competition is other software companies that the media outsources to them.
Why are you better?
Well, we are a startup. We have a strong technological background, and we can create really good software solutions.
Basically, we are faster, and because we're in a license basis, they don't have to deploy a campaign all over again every time they're going to need something to visualize the next elections they're going to report. Because they're already doing it. If they build one tool, it means that they need to spend a lot of money maintaining it by the time they reach to another election. But by licensing it out, specifically on an election-to-election basis, it is more cost-effective for them, it's faster for them, and the tech background is it's not their issue, it's our issue.
I think it's amazing that these young people are dealing with this matter, politics. What do you think?
As I said, there's definitely an opportunity. As mentioned before, accelerators like Y Combinator are calling for open democracy startups, and now it's a very good time for such startups. However, I really liked that they mentioned that they already have a proof of concept and they have a small proof of revenue. However, I was unclear about who was the competition, that was too vague, and about their rollout strategy. So they launched in Netherlands and Cyprus was a testing ground. How did they move from one country to another? And which countries are next? And which companies are the competition in each country? And what is their plan to tackle each market?
They didn't give enough information about Netherlands and how did they move there.
And also they haven't given the big picture of, what is
We don't know the market.
Yeah.
There's no...
Yeah, the revenues they're going to
amount
make,
to the market.
and, they projected a little bit their business model, but they didn't show the big picture of how they're going to evolve throughout Europe and what are the real numbers. Because investors, they will be interested to see these things when they go to Web Summit.
Yeah.
I think they have to work on something more, fine details of what they are doing and have a more comprehensive presentation of their product.
Absolutely. And another thing, if I may add, is that from my understanding, it's a business-to-business platform because they're
Yes.
going to the TV stations, etc. I would like to see if there's any future prospects, if they're planning to go from business to consumers as well. Although this might be too early, but we could have explored it alongside each market. I mean, they're starting out, but I think in Web Summit, the market and the rollout plan should be definitely mentioned.
After some debate, the judges have finally made their choice.
We have decided, and I think it's time to bring them in.
Hi guys, I will start with SockSeed. We think you've got a good idea and there is something there. There is room for quite a lot of improvement though, and although your presentation had a lot of material to make us think, we do not think, unfortunately, that you're ready at this moment for the Web Summit. But we are really here to support, mentor, coach, see how you progress. And there are another 5-6 months until then, and you may actually consider going with the right approach. And we wish you the best of luck.
Maria, you did very well. You had a nice pitch. You're at a stage where you have a good idea. You're approaching a niche market. You're still developing the hardware. It's going to be very hard. And also your IP. I think it's important before going to Web Summit at least to have your IP ready. So we have decided to give you 2 Web Summit tickets at the event to enter at this event and take the best of the advantage about it. Thank you.
And guess who's going to comment about Politica?
Cheers.
So,
I couldn't
Andrea?
think of anyone better.
Well, you're in an interesting new space that's picking up, especially with the developments going on in, well, Europe and across the Atlantic and all over the place, really. Timing-wise, it's pretty good. You're in a good position in the sense that you have already validated. There's still a lot to do because I'd like you guys to get ready by November with a very particular go-to market because of all the elections that are coming up, especially in Europe. Because, my dear, Politica is not only going to Web Summit with 2 tickets, you're also exhibiting with an alpha booth. And that means 2 tickets that are sponsored by Research Promotion Foundation and Cyprus, SIPA, the Invest Cyprus. And also, you're getting flights and accommodation covered by Louis, Microsoft, and the Bank of Cyprus. So you better be ready by November to make the most of this opportunity.
Congratulations.
On the next episode of The Impossible Pitch, watch ShopQuinn and StudyFinder facing the judges, who have only 1 ticket left to go to the Web Summit in November.